Now, for sure, I think one of the biggest problems that many Star Wars fans out there had with The Last Jedi is the fact that a lot of the original trilogy fans, we're talking about the fans that actually grew up with the original trilogy back in the 1970s and the 1980s that ended with Return of the Jedi, is that for the longest time they have always wondered and were very curious about an older Luke Skywalker really tapping into his full potential. And when they heard the news that Disney was making a new trilogy that was going to feature Luke, and then Luke was completely mishandled by Rian Johnson in The Last Jedi, that is exactly what created the major divide. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing I will say is that yes, I really do feel bad for actor Mark Hamill for having to go through all of that. You know, at the same exact time though, you can see in many interviews that he was trying to warn fans about what Rian Johnson was doing and what he was up to with the character of Luke Skywalker and what he really wanted to do with the overall story of The Last Jedi and where it was really going. But Mark Hamill really couldn't outright say it, obviously because of contract. He really could not sabotage a movie by a company like Disney or Lucasfilm, right? So I think that what we're going to get in the next couple of years is that we're going to have all these actors talking more and more about these movies and their true feelings about them once they are completely sure that they are in no way, shape, or form connected to Disney and Lucasfilm at all. You know, we've seen a prime example of this with Sam Raimi, the director of Spider-Man 3, how it took so long for him to actually speak the truth about his dissatisfaction with the actual last Spider-Man film. So, with that being said, of course, what's really intriguing all has to do with Mark Hamill and Kathleen Kennedy, where back in December of 2017 with the release of The Last Jedi by Rian Johnson, many fans were left divided. Alright, so a lot of fans were indeed left divided over the creative choices of the middle film of the sequel trilogy and its controversial plot elements that were written by Johnson for the fans to witness on the big screen. Since then, many changes have been made behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm in order to create a better future for the Star Wars franchise. However, during and after the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker, many actors and creators were interviewed about the sequel trilogy and Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy. At one point in time, actor Mark Hamill was questioned about Kathleen Kennedy to the point where he was able to reveal that Kennedy felt that the film did not need the focus on Luke and that she had tried to implement tons of more Luke footage before the reshoots even began. Mark Hamill went on to state that she wanted little to nothing to do with the actual Skywalkers in the latest Star Wars film, and that Kennedy wanted to stay away from Luke since Luke would steal the limelight away from Rey in the movie. At one moment in time, Mark Hamill was able to talk about Palpatine, where he stated that Kathleen wanted to keep Palpatine's survival a big mystery in the film after the reshoots, and that she wanted to keep that actual mystery as they were trying to figure out exactly how he survived and to save that for the novelization rather than for the movie. So here's the thing about The Rise of Skywalker, is that was the one major problem that a lot of fans had, is that the explanation of Palpatine's survival was just not there. The most that we even got close to Palpatine's survival explanation is that, well, Palpatine just says in the movie, "I have died before," giving us an example that, of course, he was brought back to life in some way. Now, in the novelization, it's actually stated that as he was falling down the reactor of the second Death Star, he was able to pretty much use his spirit to exit out of that body and travel into the one on Exegol, a failed clone, if you will, of Darth Sidious that had a lot of deformities, hence why he's got some missing fingers, his eyes are all, opaque, and you also have the fact that he's not as strong as the original Palpatine body until he gets rejuvenated. It's hence why he needs that machine with all the fluids going into him to keep him alive. So, he also needed all of the Sith spirits to keep him alive and well as well. So, the thing about Mark Hamill is that he has a great point here, is that they didn't really know exactly what they were doing with Palpatine's survival in the movie, to the point where it was pretty much too late, to the point where they had to make that decision for the novelization and actually retcon it in there and make a big difference as to exactly how he really survived in Episode 9. Now, the thing about that, when we think about everything related to Episode 9, is that this movie really could have been so much more. Let's not forget that Mark Hamill also revealed before in the past that Kathleen Kennedy didn't want as much screen time for Ian McDiarmid as Palpatine because she did not want to actually make it too much like the prequel trilogy era, where Palpatine was really the limelight. He was really the main focus. She didn't want that. She wanted it all on Rey. Hence why we got little screen time of Palpatine, really, if you think about it. We got that little short scene in the very beginning between Kylo and Sidious, and then at the very end, we get scattered scenes between Rey and Palpatine. The true Palpatine, the actual Palpatine that we know and love, where he's rejuvenated and back to normal, we only really got him for a total of 3 minutes, if you really count it all up. And it seems like Disney always likes to do that. They always like to tease for the best. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.